And this morning, I want to talk about the left's war on the Second Amendment. I have done episodes like this before, and it's been a while. But this week, ladies and gentlemen, it has been ramped up a little bit because first off, in Illinois, Illinois went ahead and let's see. I'm trying to find a quote. Yeah. So this is from Town Hall newspaper, townhall.com. And Town Hall has this article where they are announcing that there is a legal fight for the Illinois gun control bill ban that was passed earlier this year. What bill I'm talking about? Well, Town Hall covered it early this month, how Democrat Governor J.B. Pesker signed the legislation to protect Illinois Communities Act. This bill was passed by both chambers of the Illinois legislation. The bill banned semi-automatic sporting rifles, and as well as high-capacity magazines and rapid-fire devices. This is a quote from the governor of Illinois. For too long, people have lived in fear of being gunned down in school while worshiping at celebrations or in their own front yard. This legislation will stop the spread of assault weapons, high-capacity magazine, and switchers, and make our state a safer place for all. He said. The governor said in a statement, the ban impact 2.5 million legal gun owners in the state. Now, before this bill went into effect, gun sales spiked. That's how it normally does. If you have a governor or you have a president or you have someone in legislation starts talking about gun bans, gun sales are going to go up because normally you get grandfathered in. Now, this ban is facing legal action. It was just a matter of time before this happened, and Illinois' newly enacted gun control law on sporting rifles will face the first legal challenge this week. There was also a second lawsuit filed. This lawsuit that was filed is on the behalf of over 800 plaintiffs. And ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm going to give you some content around the Second Amendment. I have a book right here by David Burden. It's called the Second Amendment, and there's quotes in there of Supreme Court justices that went ahead at the beginning of gun rights legislation, or Supreme Court's quotes on the Second Amendment and our founding fathers. David Borden is a real good historian. You should go check him out. But the Second Amendment, ladies and gentlemen, was not made for hunting. That is a pet peeve of mine when I hear the left go ahead and say this. Well, the Second Amendment was for you to have the right to go hunting. I'm going to quote Joe Biden later on, where Joe Biden was talking about high-capacity magazines. And his famous line is that a deer ain't wearing a bulletproof vest or a Kevlar vest. Why do you need that many rounds in a gun? Why you need so many magazines? Why you need so many bullets in a magazine? Why? Because the founding fathers thought that our protection was a God-given right. We should have the right to protect ourselves. Also, you got to realize, too, when the founding fathers wrote the Second Amendment, they were fighting off a tyrannical government. The British, the King George from across the sea was trying to rule these people, and they fought back with muskets and things of that nature. So the Second Amendment is really to protect you, your personal protection, but at the same time to protect you from a tyrannical government. Now, that is not just necessarily the United States. If the government would go ahead and say, "Hey, we want to be dictators," but it's from a foreign country coming and trying to attack us. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where the ironic thing about it is, every person I'm about to mention in this story today, all encouraged Ukrainians to carry weapons. Every Ukrainian to carry a weapon in Ukraine when Russia came and invade them. Do you know why Russia has not taken over Ukraine yet? Because that's one thing I do agree. We helped and we sent them weapons, and they gave it to the common man and women of Ukraine. Russia could not just rush in there and attack them and take over their lands. They didn't know if they were going to be facing the end of a barrel. But these are the same politicians, Biden, probably this governor, everybody in the leadership, all told Ukraine, hey, get guns, but they want us, the American citizens, to give up ours. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a good thing. This is a good thing that we're fighting this in court, because this is an infringement on the Second Amendment. To ban high-capacity magazines, to ban semi-automatic weapons is wrong, because the Second Amendment never, ever specified what type of gun we can own. It just said you have the right to bear arms. It did not specify, hey, modern sporting rifle. It didn't mention a handgun. It just said you have the right to bear arms. So this is one way we're fighting the left right now. We are fighting with this lawsuit. Now, there will be other lawsuits coming up, because the Biden administration, and this is according to Fox News, GOP lawmakers, NRA slam ATF rule to regulate pistol braces, unconstitutional overreach. What is this about? Well, the Bureau of Alcohol, Firearms, Tobacco, and Explosives finalized new regulation Friday that will treat guns with stabilizing accessories like a short barrel rifle, which requires a federal license to own under the National Firearms Act. The move is part of a comprehensive gun crime strategy President Biden announced in April of 2021. In response to the massacre at the grocery store in Boulder, Colorado, where a gunman used a stabilizer brace to kill 10 people. The stabilizer brace was also used in a shooting in Dayton, Ohio, that left 9 people dead in 2019. Announcing the rule, Attorney General Merrick Garland said that the stabilizing brace accessories, which were designed to help disabled combat veterans enjoy recreational shooting, transform pistols into short barrel rifles. Keeping our community safe from gun violence is amongst the department's highest priority, Garland said. Almost a century ago, Congress demanded that short barrel rifles must be subject to highest requirements. Today, rules make clear that firearm manufacturers, dealers, and individuals cannot avoid these important public safety protections simply by adding accessories to pistols that transform them into short barrel rifles. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the FTA went ahead and said, we're going to change the rule on people to make this illegal now. Now, what comes with the rule? Well, I was doing some research this morning. You won't be able to go, you can't even have these things. You're not grandfathered in. When I started hearing about this story, there's people that are upset that bought these things legally when it was all right to buy them. But now the ATF is saying, hey, you have 120 days after this rule gets passed to go ahead and register your firearm or take off that accessory. If not, you are going to be a felon and you're going to hold an illegal gun. Ladies and gentlemen, this is unconstitutional. Oh, what you mean, Isaac? That part isn't. You cannot tell a private citizen I understand regulations. Don't get me wrong. I sold firearms. I worked for an outdoor retail store where I went ahead and I sold the firearms to people. But ladies and gentlemen, you cannot go ahead on the spur of the moment and tell people, hey, we're changing the rule and you only have 120 days to change those accessories or you're going to be labeled as a felon. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how many how many people have these things? Millions upon millions. And I heard a gun advocate talk about this today. And I'm going to give him props. He said, well, what about those people that don't know about gun regulations? See, there's a lot of people like us that follow this. We know what's going on, but there's tons of people that are going to be labeled as a felon for having something on their firearm that they didn't know they had or that was wrong. Now, also, this isn't a law, ladies and gentlemen. This is a rule that the ATF said we're going to implement. Who's in charge of the ATF right now? Well, you have a director, but he answers to one person, Joe Biden. And we know that Joe Biden is against the Second Amendment. Well, Isaac, how can you say Biden is against the Second Amendment? He said he's for the Second Amendment. Yeah, he said he's for the Second Amendment, but his actions are speaking louder than his words. If he was for the Second Amendment, he wouldn't be trying to implement gun legislation to stop his own citizens from having firearms. On Monday, President Biden was at an MLK event where you're supposed to go ahead and honor the great Martin Luther King. This event was to go ahead and remember his legacy and what he did for equal rights amongst the African American community. But what did Biden do at this event? Well, Biden went ahead and attacked the Second Amendment people with a quote. I love my right-wing friends who talk about their tree of liberty is watered of the blood of patriot, he said. If you need to work about taking on the federal government, you need F-15s. You don't need AR-15s. Biden also he went ahead and attacked the Second Amendment people. He went ahead and also he used the quote, well, if you're hunting, why you need all them why you need all them bullets in a magazine? And he says, I banned assault weapons before and I will ban them again. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of the United States, think about this, that ironic. Think how ironic this is. This president just a few months ago told the Ukrainian people, get firearms and protect yourselves from a tyrannical government attacking them from outside their country. But he's trying to stop American citizens from having that same right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know what this is all about. This dawned on me this morning. And look, I think it's Colin Noor, the gun activist I heard this from. And he made sense, and I'm like, yep, that's probably why they are doing this. If you notice on this quote, President Biden said that if you got to take on the government, see, ladies and gentlemen, a tyrannical government or somebody that is trying to dictate you is going to try to take your rights away so the government has more power. See, the First and Second Amendment limit the federal government of doing a lot of stuff. So for them to get more power, they have to take away those rights. And Biden said it like this, because he wants to be big, bad government, and he don't want nobody standing in his way. He wants to ban the Second Amendment so he can force his will on you. Oh, Isaac, that's speculation. Might be. But why? He says if you're going to take on the government, you need F-15s, not AR-15s. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. When the government gets big, and I've been talking a lot about big government lately because I've been seeing a lot of stuff go on with this. When big government wants to oppose their will on people, they take rights that protect the people. And this is why the left has a war on guns. This is why the left has a war on the Second Amendment, because the Second Amendment stops them. And ladies and gentlemen, they're not going to go ahead and just say, hey, we're going to abolish the Second Amendment. What they do, they start by banning it in certain states, like in Illinois, which is under legal. I talked about it earlier. It's under legal. It's in the court systems now. There's a lawsuit filed. Or they go ahead and they go to government agencies that don't have the right to make laws. But these government agents think they do, and they're going to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to change the rule, and you got to follow us or you're going to go to jail, and they take bits and pieces away. See, I disagree with Trump when he took away the bump stocks of the guns. Because that was, I hate to say it, I like Trump, but Trump did wrong with that. And you notice and the left advocates for this. Hey, let's take this away. Oh, no, we got to take that away now. Oh, this is dangerous. We got to take this away. Until after a while, you don't have nothing. You're like, oh, well, we have a Second Amendment right. Yeah, but that's our law. This is our law. And the government takes away. And then when statements like this, when President Biden comes out and says, well, You need F-15s, not AR-15s to take on the government. You start wondering, what is the government doing? And this is from the left. This isn't from the right. I don't think there's no there is no right-minded Republican that would say something like this. But ladies and gentlemen, we need to protect our rights. We need to protect our rights as American citizens to make sure we keep our freedoms. Because if you leave it up to the left, they're going to take away all your guns. No, they're not pro-Second Amendment because their actions speak louder than words.